Traditional that Kiwanis honors and gives tribute to our agricultural people in our area annually, and today that's what we're doing. And we're very fortunate to have a man, who's been in agriculture all his life. He happens to be the head of the State of Ohio Department of Agriculture, Director David Daniels. Let me read what he says about himself here. It's nice. It's nice. I want to be proper though. David Daniels was appointed to the Ohio Agriculture Director by Governor Kasich on February 15, 2012. In this capacity, he oversees aspects of the state's #1 industry, food and agriculture, and upholds regulatory, food safety, and consumer protection programs for the benefit of all Ohioans. He served 4 terms in the Ohio House of Representatives. He was elected to the Ohio Senate in 2010 to serve the 17th Ohio Senate District. Prior to being elected to the Ohio General Assembly, he served 4 years on the Greenfield City Council, 8 years as mayor. He also served as Highland County Commissioner for 6 years. Kind of fits in, doesn't it, guys? Director Daniels is a native of Greenfield, Ohio, where he was born and raised, and where he and his family managed the Daniels Brothers farm. And I think that farm has now been sold, but what a wealth of experience and he brings to the table today. His plate's full, believe me. It's not just water quality, it's manure spreading, it's everything you can imagine about food safety. We are delighted to have you, Director. Please come forward and just give him a warm Kiwanis welcome.
Thank you all, and it's a pleasure to be here. You know, one of the greatest things I like about coming to service organizations is when I was a kid years ago, every young person at McLean High School, where I graduated from, had to go in and sing the scales. You had to go in 7th grade, and you had to sing through the scales to determine whether or not you were going to be in the choir or whether you were going to be in study hall. And we had kind of I think to say that our music teacher was difficult, I think is probably pretty accurate. And he said, okay, Daniels, get up there. And I got as far as do, re, mi, and he said study hall, and he didn't even give me a chance to finish. So I get a chance to come here, sing with all of you, bring my bad voice in, and show Mr. Anderson that, yeah, there is somebody that wants to hear me sing along. So it is good to be here. It's good to be in Wayne County. And you know, this is Ag Week in the state of Ohio. And earlier today, we were up at Akron, and we presented a $1,000 scholarship to a young man who raised a 42-pound cabbage in his backyard. And so this young man's a 4th grader. So actually the cabbage, when I say it's bigger than he was, is bigger than he was. And but coming down here, as we came down, you get a chance to drive through, and you get a chance to see your countryside and look at the rich agricultural bounty that you've got here. You've got great soils, you know, we've got everything that we need here, and we're lucky. We're lucky in Ohio that we've got the land that we have, the water that we have, the ability to produce that we have, because that gives us an opportunity to provide, have an industry that provides us with 1 out of every 7 jobs. So it is fitting that you all take a time, that every county take the time to recognize their agricultural heritage, recognize how much, I guess how much that how much thanks we truly do owe ag, whether it's the 3 meals you eat every day, the cotton shirt that's on your back, or the timber that's in the house that you live in. Agriculture's produced all that, and now we're getting to the place where we understand that we are now energy producers. We are now, you know, big biotech companies. All those things are things that are associated with agriculture. But, you know, here in Wayne County, you're especially blessed. You know, in Ohio, we've got 75,000 farms right now of about 187 acres apiece. So not all of them are big. A lot of them are smaller operations, and people are finding ways to make those productive and pay. You know, the average American eats 22 pounds of tomatoes every year, and right here in Ohio, we produce 157,000 tons of tomatoes every year. A lot of people don't know that. 66 billion table eggs eaten each year, of which Ohio produces 7.6 billion. So our agricultural heritage and the bounty that we have here is just, great. Here in Wayne County, you're the #1 dairy producing county in the state. You've got more cattle and calves than any county in the state, and that's worth certainly certainly worth celebrating here today. Yeah, I came up here several years ago and I met Bobby Warren, and we went out on a tour for a dairy operation that was milking 6,000 head a day. And you just stop and think, the milk from 6,000 cows, that's a lot of milk, but it's just a fraction of what we need to produce the kind of food that it takes to feed our nation and our world every day. So you've got other great assets here, OARDC, the work that's being done out of Ohio State, the research that goes on here helps us to continue to produce. But, you've got great food processors here. A lot of people, when they think about agriculture and the things that we're doing, they're not thinking about the processing side of it. Smucker's, Daisy, all those companies that have made Wooster their home are so important, because when we've gone through hard times in our manufacturing economy, the one thing that continues to stand out and continues to operate every day is food production, food manufacturing. So those manufacturers, why we saw different areas of Ohio's economy decline, we looked at those and we saw that those continued to stay steady and grow a little bit. That's why the governor has been extremely interested in food production and continuing to see what we can do to grow that segment of our economy. But, why you get a chance to drive through Wayne County and see what all we have here, and you kind of think agriculture has got to be pretty second nature to people, that they just understand it and they get it. It's amazing to me how many times I go out and get an opportunity to talk to people and find out how little they know about agriculture and what it takes to produce the food that we do. And one of the places that I find that I get a good opportunity to do that and talk to people and find out about it is at our state fair and our county fairs. While county fairs are while we've got a lot of young folks down working on their project, developing a lot of the life skills that they're going to need to be leaders for the rest of their lives, you also got a whole group of people that come out that have never seen a farm animal before, have never seen a chicken lay an egg, and they're walking through there and they say, "Did you see that chicken just laid an egg? Did you see that?" And it's amazing to watch that kind of thing happen and understand. When I was growing up, everybody had some connection with a farm someplace. Everybody had an aunt or an uncle or somebody that had a farm, and you went out there and you spent a little bit of time. But we don't see that anymore. And I was asked the other day what the biggest challenge to face agriculture is, and I said, it's people not understanding what we do and what it takes to feed the world, and that it takes 66 billion eggs to feed the people in the United States every year. And we've got to continue to work with everybody to make sure that they understand that food production, what happens on the farm, the things that we're doing with biotech research, all the things that it takes to improve our genetics, to improve our food supply, it isn't sinister. It is what we're going to have to do in order to feed the hungry world. So we've got to go out every day and work to make sure people understand what our message is, what it is that we do, and what we're doing is what I think is noble work. And we get a chance to do that at the fair. But, every now and then you'll kind of hear things that you think are pretty funny. JD Equipment has been helped us work on our sponsorship at the Ohio State Fair every year, and they've brought in some fairly large equipment. We are the only display at the State Fair that has large equipment, large farm equipment at the State Fair. And had a lady come up one day, and she had never seen the inside of a combine, and she said, "Can I get up in there and take a look at that?" And she climbed up in, we got the keys out and showed her, and she got up in, she said, "Now, what's something like this cost?" And we told her it cost $500,000, and it's set right there. And she said, "Oh." So government buys these and operates them, and said, no, our farmers do. And she couldn't believe that somebody would actually put that much money into a piece of equipment that they were only using 3 or 4, or sometimes 3 or 4 weeks a year. And we said, well, just so you know, said some of our bigger farmers own 2 or 3 of them. So to find that, to see that there was that knowledge, another lady came up and she wanted to know, when we went to war, what that machine was used for, because anything that big had to be used to destroy an enemy someplace. But, so, we get a chance to hear those kind of comments and try to work with people and make sure that they understand what we're doing. But, we do have our challenges. Anybody that has been in agriculture in the last 5 or 6 years has certainly heard about water quality, the problems that we face as an industry, and what we've got to do with that. And a lot of people think that it's a northern Ohio problem, but I guarantee you that it's not. Every time I get a chance to sit down with the ag directors from all 50 states, I can tell you that every ag director is working on it. And the thing that has been interesting to me is to have seen how the agriculture community has answered the call. We've asked them very specifically to do very specific things, and they've done it. The commodity groups have been working to get the message out to their folks to talk about nutrient management, what the proper way is to apply nutrients, whether it's commercial fertilizer or whether it's livestock manure onto a field, how to get the most advantage of it. We've been working very closely with Ohio State and the nutrient management program that we now have, that we go out and work with these producers. And a lot of the producers are saying, it's been really good that I've been in these classes because I've learned a little bit, and as what I've learned, I'm going to take this back, and it's going to save me some money on my operation. So, we continue to work on those things. We continue to try to find answers and solutions. We're not going to find them overnight, but we are working on it. And like I said, I think that there are a lot of different causes to the problems, but agriculture is stepping up and doing their piece. But, being a kid that came from, I have to say those things about myself, because if I let Jim Carmichael, who's a good friend of mine, say things about me, he'll tell you things that I really don't want you to know. But having grown up on a farm in southern Ohio, we were kind of a small grain and livestock operation, but to have the opportunity that I had to work with an industry where people are forward-thinking, they are good stewards of the land, they are caring, concerned, they work every day to provide a living for their family, and a lot of times I think that we don't recognize that while they're out earning a living for themselves, once that truck leaves their farm and dumps a crop at the nearest grain elevator, then that's going to somebody else who's providing a job for that processing, who's providing a job, and that's where we end up getting the full benefit of all that we've got going on here in Ohio. So Ag Week's a good week for us. Anytime you get a chance to give a kid $1,000 for raising a big cabbage, it's just kind of a neat way to spend your day. Stopping here talking to all of you about the work that you do and the service that you provide, the service that your club provides to your community. We're going to go down and talk to Mettler Toledo tomorrow. Mettler Toledo is probably one of the largest scales and weights and measures divisions. That also is part of what we do at ODA. Why? Because farmers buy and sell things. We want to make sure that the scales we're selling across is accurate and the scales that we're buying across is accurate. So we work with a lot of those companies. Also, we're going to go down and spend Friday down in my area of the state. We're going to be meeting with some ag lenders, and they're going to be talking about some of the challenges that they face and some of the producers that we've got down there and some of the challenges that they face finding capital. But also we're going to meet with a family that has the oldest bicentennial farm that we know about in the state of Ohio. It was deeded to their family in, I believe, 1773. Eric is telling me it's 73. So stop and think about that. This land was deeded to this family before we were a nation, or at about the same time we were being born as a nation. So our bicentennial, our Century Farm program is for those farmers that have been in production under the same family for 100 years or for 200 years. And we've got about 1,000 farms, and it's starting to grow. And it's really good that we stop and take a minute to recognize those folks. Tell me how many businesses in Wayne County have been around for 100 years, or 200 years for that fact. So I think that, you know, from the department standpoint, we truly like to take a minute and just recognize those folks. So, you know, it's great to be here today. I'm happy to answer a few questions if you've got them. I told Tom that I was willing to speak for 20 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes. Everybody kind of thought maybe the 15 or 20 might be the right way to go. So I think we've got a few minutes. If any of you have got any questions about our department, what we do.